Welcome back to Siesta with Suki. As always, thank you so much for joining me, my friends, mi amigos. Today, I know every time I say the same thing, special guest, special guest, special guest. I know I sound like a broken record, but every one of my guests is special, so this is a real thing. So today, we're going to talk about what we talk about. We're going to talk money. We're going to talk culture. We're going to have a little mezcal. I might call this one Two Haitians and a Mezcal. We'll see what happens. I've come up with something a little bit better than that. But as always, my goal is to make sure that you learn, I learn, and we have fun together while we're doing it. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my guest, Sonia.
What's going on, everyone? How's it going?
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. And people are probably like, what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk money and we're going to talk culture. We're going to talk a little bit about financial literacy. But first, we're going to talk about you, how you came to be. So we are going to go, first of all, give us your full name, what you do, and just give us the 2 minute spiel. Sorry, 2 minutes.
Yeah, my name is Soniel Esteem.
No, you gotta give it to me the Haitian way. You gave it to me all English.
Soniel.
Okay.
My name is Soniel Esteem.
Okay, thank you.
But everybody calls me Sonny. Rolls off the tongue a little bit easier in the States. So, my background is I'm Haitian, obviously. I work in fintech, which is financial technology for one of the largest banks in the world, and I have the pleasure of learning a lot about finances, about technology, and it's a passion of mine. So
Okay, so we're gonna go back because this is my Haitian folks know it's very odd for this to be a passion because it's not something that you grow up with. It's not something in your household. So we're gonna go back. So are you first generation or were you born in Haiti or you were born in the States?
I was born in Haiti.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Haiti. I came to the States when I was about 3-4 years old.
Okay.
And I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida, for most of my childhood. And then eventually went to the Midwest to play football in college.
Who'd you play for?
I played for Illinois State.
Okay.
Yeah, I played as a safety.
Okay.
So that's defense.
No, I know. Are you kidding me? Oh, you talked to the wrong person. I played fantasy football for 10 years. I am a 3-year champion of the teams.
Okay.
I beat Evan. I beat my brother. I beat all the guys he went to high school with.
Okay.
I was the only woman on the fantasy football, so I took it very seriously.
That's awesome. My wife still doesn't know what position I play. If you ask her to this day, she still doesn't know.
No, I know
she
my
might tell you I was a kicker or something.
Oh
like
no, she would not. She would not tell you you were kicking.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so you played.
Yep.
You played for them there.
Yep.
So the reason I ask you that, sometimes on the show, and here in Mexico we are like a stop for migrant caravans. Mm-hmm. And people tend to see people immigrating in this particular way. And I always love to take the opportunity to show kind of the kids of the immigrants, right? Because we are after the people who are walking now. We're the dream after.
Yeah.
We're the ones that our parents did this for.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have to take up a mantle. So it's not as simple as, oh, these people are coming to the border and all of that. A lot of the people have dreams for their kids. They don't know where this journey is going to take them. They don't know where the kids' journey is going to take them. And we, as the kids, we feel that. Because even though you came at 3-4 years old, you always knew you were an immigrant in the United States.
Absolutely.
That was always the case. Mm-hmm. And at least me, I know I felt a responsibility to my parents in a way for the journey that they took.
Yeah. No,
right?
100%.
You can't just squander what they had to go through to get to the United States and make it there. Now, we won't put your family's business out there. I put my whole family business out there. I'm an anchor baby. So basically, I was born, and so my parents got to stay.
Yeah.
Those are the rules back then, which I find interesting as well because rules change, and I know, in finance and everything, the rules change. And so the key to making it all work is understanding what the current rules are and flowing with it. But that's my philosophy. We'll get back to that.
Yeah. It's very interesting that you say that because I at one point got really interested in finding out about my roots, where I came from, how did my family get here? And my grandmother, God rest her soul, I had the pleasure of basically interviewing her before she passed. I actually got a recording, probably a few months or a year before she passed, where I just asked her questions about how did the family get here. And it's a very interesting story. She explained how she came here on a boat.
When you say here, where's here?
The States.
The United States, okay.
Yeah, the States.
We're in Mexico, we're in Oaxaca. So I'm
That's
like,
the
here,
American
Oaxaca, I
mindset,
understand, okay. So they came by boat.
So she came by boat. She actually left her husband to come here for a better life for her family. And
so when you say boat, you're literally talking about the boats that you're not supposed to get on.
Yeah, she got lost at sea, actually. Wow. They ended up on a different Caribbean island. They got lost at sea. And then she eventually made it to the States, where she was staying in like a small house with like 50 other people. Mm-hmm. She was working at a lime factory or farm, picking limes and citrus fruits in Florida, till she eventually made enough money to get my father and his brothers to come to the States. And it was just such a touching story, because I'm like, if you went through all of that struggle to get me here, to get my family here in the States, right? To get my family to the States, what do I have to complain about? Sometimes when things get tough and I'm like, man, this is hard, or, this is a struggle. I'm getting picked on when I was a kid, right? Like, I think back now as an adult and I'm like, I need to be grateful for everything that happens. Even some of the difficulties in life, right? Because the plights that the people that came before me had to go through in order for me to have these opportunities, I need to be grateful, and I need to take full advantage of it, like you said.
Yes, yeah. We're gonna salute to that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. What's your grandmother's name?
Angela.
Angela, salute to you, Angela, because that is fascinating. I actually often wish, so crazy, it's like totally narcissistic. I do these things for my grandkids. I don't even have grandkids yet. But in my mind, I'm like, they might want to know how I thought, right? And I remember my grandmother, and I loved my grandmother. She used to give everybody the business, she was like hot fire, like Jamaicans would like to say. But she loved her grandkids, and she did so much for us, just in terms of care and loving. And I think that, to your point, I only knew my grandmother. My other 3 grandparents all passed before I was born. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them owned businesses in various capacities in Haiti. And what I know from them is what I have to drag out of my parents. You already know, right?
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't sit and talk to each other really about, okay, what's the history and where'd you come from? And we, I think, this generation of Haitians after the ones from before us, are caring about that more. And so I think it is important that we continue to pass that. And to your point, I'm totally with you. Mm-hmm. When I see sometimes the migrants passing through here, I definitely, and I think about the journey, the walk that they took through the Darien Gap. Yeah. I say to myself, there's food in my refrigerator. Right? I mean, there's a roof over my head. Yeah. I get to think about things like business. Mm-hmm. I'm not thinking about, am I going to live, through tomorrow?
Yeah.
And so when I think about that, I definitely feel grateful. But I'll tell you what else I also feel grateful about. Because the other day I was complaining to Evan. I was like, we owe all this money. And then he sends me like a little message. And he sends me a thing that one of the companies we invested in apparently owes a $400,000 stock interest in September. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We don't owe that much money. We're all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can actually work to pay the money that we owe. We don't owe $400,000, right? So it's definitely, I think, perspective. And I'm really glad that you were able to have that conversation, with her, because it really helps us, I think, stay grounded in who we are, and it's an anchor. But you had to walk me through the story, because your grandmother brings the kids to the United States, but at some point they go back to Haiti?
No, so my grandmother stayed here, was able to bring my father here.
Okay.
He was...
Here meaning Florida.
Meaning in Florida, meaning in the States.
Yeah.
Once he was able to come, he was married to my mom at that time, and she had just had me.
I see.
So I was still in Haiti. So he was working in the States and sending money back home to support her and eventually be able to save up enough money to get her here.
Yes.
And here we are.
Yes.
You know, so.
And that's very, very typical,
Yeah.
you know. This is what Haitians do. Haitians
Yeah.
send money back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a thing. And it's beautiful to see because I know, you know, traditionally, you already know, we're not very lovey-dovey as a culture, you know, not a lot of hugging and stuff going on. But when it comes to that inner pride, I've got to take care of my family, you know, and the trust that's required, right? Because your dad's here first and your mom has to trust. He's going to continue sending back. He's going to continue to make sure that my family comes here. And that's how we all do. One comes and then brings another. And I think that is a very probably important segue to get into how we think about money just as culturally Haitian people. You know, we tend to think about money a little bit differently because you know, in Haiti itself, a lot of business goes on, right? I mean, the idea of working for someone else, it's not like it is in the United States. You know, I'm going to go and get a job. You know, not quite. Every family has got kind of a little business. It's more of an exchange culture than it is I'm going to go get a job culture. And if you're going to go to school for something, it's the typical stuff, right? Teacher, doctor, lawyer, but otherwise the regular people are doing business. So in a very real way, the Haitian culture is a culture of business. That's how you operate. And you know, Haitians have 10 jobs just like everybody else. So even if you have a job, you've got some business, some side. So talk to me about that. You know, you mentioned to me that there you have still some businesses in Haiti, so we talked about that a little bit. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so my father has businesses in Haiti, but for me, like you stated, business is in our blood as Haitians. I remember in elementary school selling candy. Matter of fact, no, it was candy, and it's also I used to make PB&J sandwiches, PB&J and banana sandwiches that I would sell for $1 in like middle school and high school. And then when I went to college, I used to cut hair. You know, I was on the football team. I used to cut the other players' hair. And it's just always inherent in me to do some sort of business. I don't know where it came from, obviously.
I think
my
it's
culture,
just cultural, yeah.
Right? So that's always been a passion of mine. But I think one of the struggles that I run into with my parents' generation is understanding that you don't always just have to work to eat. And there are methods or different types of investments that you can make where you can have passive income, where the goal should be to create a business that you don't have to operate every single day.
And they feel like it's a scam.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there. So let me tell you, I'll tell you my selling story. So here, we'll salute to yours. Because yours was more on the up and up. Mine was borderline shameful. So, the kids I went to school with, they didn't want to do any work. I had no problem doing work. So I would study for the tests. And they didn't want to study. So they would actually take the test from, I'm older now, I could share this. And my kids are older too, so it's okay. They would take the test from the teacher's desk. I would do the test and then hand it out to everybody. But I charged them. So I charged to do homework. I charged for the tests. But I always made sure I'm the one who got the A, because there's no way if I'm going to actually study, you're not doing better than me. So the best I would give them is a B+, but I would charge people to do homework for a very long time. That was my business. You know, I would do that because I did the homework anyway. So for me, it was kind of not a thing. But you're very right. It actually never occurred to me at that age that there was a way to make money passively. And I think part of it is that your parents will tell you it's a scam. Right? They'll overtly. They'll tell you, oh man, this, what?
Oh, you're investing in stocks? Oh, that's going to crash.
Absolutely.
Don't do that.
You're going to lose all your money.
You'll lose everything.
It's important to them to see, feel, and they feel in a way that it's abusive. The concept of making money passively doesn't quite compute. And making money passively does not always mean making money passively through people, right? You can, years ago I wrote a book. I cannot tell you the joy of that little thing. You got money from Amazon. I loved it. It was little. Nothing made. It's like $2.
Even those little wins, though.
They made you feel good.
Oh, my. I remember when I first started investing in stocks and, I'm really big on investing in dividends, right?
Okay.
And then you get your first couple of stocks, you get like 10 cents. You're like, but that's the best feeling in the world. Like I went to sleep and woke up and made 10 cents that I didn't have to physically work for.
You were sleeping.
You know?
While you were sleeping, this money magically appeared. See, that's what I felt. I felt like that was probably the first time I started to understand, oh, you can be making money while you sleep, right? Yep, and that's not something you learn at all growing up, because you're taught, you have to work for yours. And there's actually nothing wrong with working for yours.
Yeah.
I respect and appreciate the work ethic that they instilled. You have to work. But, and we should be honest, right? It looked hard. It looked like I felt as a kid, like my parents were working very hard.
Yeah.
And they didn't seem happy working. They didn't mind, because my mother's legitimately still working today. Yeah. Right this moment I could call her. I'm just not going to do it for you on camera. Yeah. And she'd be like, I'm going to have to call you back because I'm working. Yeah. So it was something that I remember as a kid saying to myself, I'm not going to work like that. And I turned out to be a liar, because surely I'm working just like they did. Yeah. So that was all talk. But as kids, especially I think as the kids growing up in America, you watched your parents work really, really hard. Yeah. And my parents had 2 jobs each. My mother retiring was letting go of 1 job. Yeah. So she's retired. She just works 1 job now. Wow. And she will legitimately work that 1 job.
That sounds about right for Haitian retirement.
Yeah, Haitian retirement is 1 job versus 2. Okay, so she's a retired person now. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't do that like that. Yeah. And it didn't seem like making money was fun. Yeah. And so for a little period of time, I remember rebelling against that idea. And I think part of it is I didn't know what I didn't know. Growing up, Haitian people, there's like 3 professions. Yeah. Teacher, doctor, lawyer. Nurse, I'm sorry. Engineers, yes. And you got to be that nurse, you know what I'm saying?
And there's a 4th one, it's failure.
Oh, yes, that's right.
You don't hit those other ones.
Oh, man, you don't do that. You are just a bum. Vagabond.
Vagabond, yep, that's right.
A bouzin, so they got some nice words. And it's not, so if you ever want to, some nice Haitian words for you. So it's basically vagabond in English. But saying it in Kreyòl, you gotta give it like so it's vagabond. You know, you gotta put that emphasis in your chest. It's gotta come from up here. And so your parents very much instill in you, if they don't see you working, basically you're a bum. Yeah. And so you feel that way. If you wake up in the morning and you're not working, you kind of feel like, like I'm lazy. And it takes some time to get past that. I don't even think I'm past it, to be honest. No, it's like so in you, right? And so you go on vacation, but you still have this thing.
Yeah, I'm quote unquote on vacation, but as soon as we leave here, I'm gonna go do some business stuff. So it's just, but even with that though, I think changing the culture to where like business is fun, right? Yes. We're not doing business just to pay the bills. That's something that comes from it. Yes. But like doing it to where like you're enjoying what you're doing. Yes. I think that's a whole different aspect. Like me personally, I love business. I love learning about business. I love meeting people and doing business. Like that's genuinely fun to me. But I think for our culture, it's not a fun thing. No. Like it's
survival almost.
It's survival. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the thing is, so because it's survival, there's not this idea that I'm going to, it's really interesting because Haitian people will work very, very hard, but they don't necessarily want more. It's like it's very, very hard working, but not to, and make sure your family's good. Yeah. So that's very important. Family's got to be good, but it's not for a more.
Do you think that that's a form of trauma?
So I wonder, because sometimes, and I haven't been to Haiti since I was 7 years old, so it's been a very long time. I still have some cousins in Haiti, and I see some of the videos, and you look at the water, right? It's just so beautiful. Yeah. And you look at the colors of Haiti. Yeah. If you see the colors through the videos, and you are like, wow. Yeah. It's just beautiful being here, right? It doesn't matter if I have a hut. I walk outside of my house, and it's almost like I'm in a living painting. And I wonder if sometimes being on an island surrounded by that much beauty and surrounded by everything I have is here. I don't need more. You know, I don't know if it's exactly trauma as much as it's we've always had what we needed. After you do the little business here, there, you don't need more. So if you don't need more, why should I want more? So there is something to that, because I think sometimes I ask myself, you know, I kind of am a little dissatisfied, and that dissatisfied feeling doesn't go away. And I tend to find they feel satisfied. And there's a blessing in that. And I don't know the Haitians are too traumatized. You know, they're very, you know, they'll burn some tires in a minute. And, you know, like I tell folks, like, seriously, I do not get into problems with Haitian people. I don't recommend you do either. You know, things can get real gangster real fast.
That's true.
You know, and there's something in the heart that it'll be really gangster, right? It just won't be as simple, I take you out. It'll be like really ugly and crazy looking. So there's a pride.
Pride.
There. There's a very, very strong pride there. And I don't think that Haitian people feel lack, you know? So because when you don't feel lack, I think that's when you don't necessarily say to yourself, I need a whole lot more. So, you know, I get it. Like my mother would tell me sometimes they would leave their house and they would basically jump off the cliff and jump into the ocean to go swimming. You know, when that's your life, you're not really saying to yourself, I need a more. And I think sometimes going to America, especially when you start being around more American kids, because at first when you're young, you don't know that you don't, like you actually think you have everything too, right? I remember being very young. I never thought we didn't have, you know, they had a car, they had jobs, we ate every day, played outside with the friends, we had everything. And I don't think I started thinking about not having until I got older. First time I was around more like non-Haitian people was when I went to Brooklyn Tech, and I started meeting different people, and then it started to occur to me, oh, there's more. Before then, in my mind, there wasn't a more. So it's kind of a catch-22. On the one hand, I think there's a place for us to understand, and I think part of the, you know, I won't get into politics big time with you about the island. On the one hand, I think that as an island, as a people, Haiti could do more. But on the other hand, there's a satisfaction. So I actually think that, you know, I'm probably going to say something totally unpopular. Shame on me. I have a little bit of mezcal. It's been a while, so it's hitting me. I think the interference in Haiti, in my mind, has been the biggest issue. Because I think culturally, Haitian people think very differently. And so they should be allowed. But to that end, Haitian people will go everywhere. You know, first time I went to Ecuador, it was like a random guy. He's like, oh, I'm Haitian. Like, we've gone random places and found Haitian people. So Haitian people will go and they will travel. And I think what needs to happen is when Haitian people leave, and any people really, now you need to start understanding the culture of the place you're going to, including the monetary culture.
And I think, to your point, I think you're spot on with that. I think a lot of Haitians that come to the States think that things will operate the same way that they operated in Haiti, such as schooling, right?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of Haitians think public school here is like, in Haiti, you got to pay for school.
Yes.
And if you're going to school, you want to go to school.
Everybody's wearing a uniform and school's a thing.
Yeah. So they think your professors, you going to public school, they're giving you the same attention and making sure they care about your education like they would in Haiti. And that's not the case. And I think that's where our generation has a disconnect with our parents too, because they have this expectation. Because in Haiti, you have a village. Like your neighbors,
oh man,
you know, which what I just said was basically, if you're bad, any of the parents in that community can discipline you.
On the street.
They know your family.
And then if your family hears about it, first they're like, that's what, and then you're going to go home and you're going to get it again. Because now your parents are tight. That somebody else had to discipline you. You know, you don't want that. You don't want that smoke.
And they don't realize that they don't have that environment in America, which causes a disconnect between their children and them. And I think that's something that you don't really work out with your parents until you're more of an adult. Because you in a Haitian household, they know, hey, I don't feel good, my emotions.
Emotions. They don't even know what that word means. Do we know the word emotions in Kreyòl? Because I don't know it.
Nah,
and that's
none of that.
We literally don't know the word. The word doesn't, I'm sure it must be there somewhere.
Yeah.
I've never heard it.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. Like they believe that school, everyone's taking it very, very seriously. And so they have no idea about some of the traumas you experienced in school.
Yeah.
Like being called boat people. And boat people is like
fresh off the boat.
Fresh off the boat. My favorite was Haitian booty scratcher.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
They do that with Africans too, though.
They do, yes. Yes, it's African booty scratcher and Haitian booty
scratcher.
scratcher. So we were kind of together in that one. And I came up in a time
that we eat
where
cat.
I never got the cat. Never got the cat, but I'm older than you, so I
Yeah.
came up in the time of when HIV and AIDS was just coming.
Really? Oh.
And they had accused Haitian people of being the one. So
I didn't know
I'm
about
older
that.
than you. I'm older than you. So I was in third, fourth grade, and I don't third, fourth. You don't know anything. And so suddenly one day you've got like the cooties and all this stuff, and you don't understand where'd you get the cooties from because you didn't have the cooties yesterday. And so as a kid, the adults were having conversations with each other about Haitian people having AIDS, but that translated actually into the kids. Oh. But as the kid, you just didn't know why you suddenly became basically a persona non grata. You were not a thing.
No, I didn't know that.
And it was a point where legitimately you would not tell people that you were Haitian. And you would say things like, I'm Caribbean, French Caribbean, use all these like euphemisms. It's very sad. Like when I think back to it, I'm like, man, this is so sad to have kids and the things you didn't tell your parents because you wanted to protect them.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
So you had to protect them from the accent.
Yeah.
Wasn't right, and it was all of that.
I got into many fights that my parents don't know about because of that. But speaking of which, like even so I grew up in Florida, and there was some gangs, Haitian gangs that came about.
Yes.
But that was all due to protecting each other.
That's right.
Because people like my uncle would say like they would literally get jumped because they were Haitian.
Yep.
For us, we get make fun. Like my generation, we get made fun of. I'd get into fights here and there, but there was literally a concern about their safety, and that's where some of these Haitians gangs came about. And it's really crazy to think about, the evolution, because after a while it became cool to be Haitian. You see them rap.
Let me tell you, it's the craziest thing.
I hang out with the Zoes.
So we had a thing because I grew up in the time when they had to do the gang. So even where I was in Spring Valley was the Triple H posse.
Oh wow, ours was top 6.
And that's exactly what it was. The Haitians had to get together because you had to protect yourself from the other people. And I tell you, when it became cool to be Haitian, it was Wyclef Jean.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing. He came out.
Shout out
the
Wyclef.
Fugees. Shout out Wyclef. Thank you. You made us all cool again. Wyclef came out with his thick accent.
Yeah.
Like he was Haitian. He wasn't a little Haitian. You barely understood what Wyclef was saying in the beginning. It's like he learned to speak English over a few albums.
Yeah.
And he started doing the albums and the songs, and folks started telling you "ça passe," and you're like, what?
What? Yeah.
And then suddenly it became cool. And then you realize, you know what? I was wilding out. This is a country with such a strong history.
Yeah.
You're talking about people who came together from different African lands and said to themselves, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We don't speak the same language. We're going to learn to use drums to communicate each other. Even Kreyòl itself. The beauty of coming up with a language, like that's like very, very rare and new. You came up with a new language for the purposes of communicating with each other, to overthrow people who had no business doing what they did to you.
Yeah.
Right? And you kept that language.
Not just overthrowing. Let's not diminish this, because the 3 European powers, the only country who's ever been able to get their independence by fighting that many European powers. So I just want to make sure, we give credit where credit is due.
Salute to that. I mean? We are real Haitians out here. We all like Haitians are the best. And that's like an amazing thing to do, right? To get people together and focus on that. So you still have the pride to this day, right? And so the fact that we went through that period of we didn't feel that pride, that's something that even myself and my kids, I'm always telling them. I got them Haitian, they have Haitian books. I tell them, I'm like, these are your people, And whatever issues might be going on in Haiti now, even to this day, that doesn't take away from that pride right in here. And we should hold on to that. So there are some things that are, you know, a little tricky about, you know, Haitian folks. You know, we won't talk about what a liguaz is and all those things, because I don't know if that's good stuff. But nonetheless, the work ethic, the discipline, and just the pride, I think taking that as a foundation. And like you said, schooling, and not just schooling, but learning, you know, and we're going to end this segment with that. I think that one of the things, you know, my parents too, education was like a big thing. But my father would watch Nova. I'm before your time, so Nova was passed by that time. But it was on Channel 13. It was like a science channel. And I'm real young. I'm 5, 6 years old. And he's like, let's watch Nova. I'm like, this man is having me watch dolphins. You know, like all this science stuff. And I'm like, is this serious? And you know, you're a kid, you have to just sit down and be quiet. So I'd sit there with him for hours and we'd watch these science shows and we'd watch National Geographics. He had me reading the New York Times. I'm 8, 9 years old. I don't even know what these words mean.
Listen,
you know?
8, 9 years old, you're basically a doctor.
Oh, you are.
You're a lawyer. Like you gotta legal documents, you gotta be able to read those.
And that's the thing, because you're helping out your parents.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
So your parents are doing stuff that's like, to an American kid would be off the wall.
Oh, yeah.
My parents were moving and they were like, the insurance people are calling. I'm like, yeah?
Yeah.
And they're like, you have to talk to them. I'm like, about what?
Yeah.
They're going to ask you some questions. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I botched their whole thing. They called and they were like, hey, we're the insurance people. We need to know how much everything costs. So me and my, I'm a kid. I'm thinking, I got to tell them stuff is real expensive. I was like, our couch is $5,000. The piano's $10,000. I'm giving them these big numbers. So 2 months later, my father's like, what's going on? Our insurance is so high. I don't understand. What's wrong with these people? Then I start thinking, I think I wilded out right now. I think I gave them the wrong information. But you had to be home for the cable people. They relied on you to help them navigate kind of the American system. And so
and you're the oldest, right?
I'm the oldest.
So that's additional responsibility. Because I'm the oldest as well.
Yeah.
So now you like the pseudo-parent.
I'm pseudo-parent. I'm mom. I'm aunt.
Yep.
And I'm the first generation in the United States. So they are like, you must know the stuff.
Yeah.
So I was
what do I send you to school for? You know, like,
that's exactly what they would say, right? And I'm like, but that's not what they teach you in school.
Like, first of all, you have to send me to school or you're going to jail.
That's exactly right.
So
it's a whole other world out here. Okay, you have no choice but to send me to school. But they do not talk to me about dealing with insurance people.
Yeah.
But you don't say that. You just go with it, and you're like, okay. And to this day, my father called me. He's like, you need to find out where it is we can be buried. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I got you, Dad.
Yeah.
So it's actually a really good thing, I feel like, to be in our position, because on the one hand, you're kind of fearless.
Yeah.
Because very early on, they kind of said to you, yeah, you can figure it out, right? But you're also learning, and there are very good things in the American system. I don't want to make it seem like I'm downing America. I'm not. And total side note, and then I promise I'll leave you on this half. Can I tell you that America has got the best comments in the world? Let me tell you, sometimes I look at these little TikTok things, and there are some funny folks out there, real witty. I love America's comments. That's like my favorite thing. So I don't want to leave America without a what do you love about America? I actually feel like the wittiness on the comments is fantastic. Don't leave any witty comments on my stuff, though. I'll delete you. I'm just saying. And you've got to keep it real with you, okay? Like Haitian folks out here. All right. We are going to talk money in the next half. And we're going to talk really money, financial literacy, and we're going to keep it, kind of basic, just because the first part is understanding money, taking away the fear about money, separating the idea of business and money, because they're actually not the same thing. There's money, there's business, and then there's the business of money, right? Totally different things. And understanding that even if it's not part of your culture, whether you're Haitian like us or whether it's just not something that your family did, there's a way to learn, there's a way to participate, and even if you don't participate, understanding at least is really important. So we only got a half an hour, so we'll give you the little snippets, but I'm trying to convince Sonia to do like a financial literacy channel. So I'm putting this whole business out there. Look at the heat that I just put on them. Did you feel that? Did you feel that heat? To really talk to people about this and really start at the beginning and give a whole like education on this, right? So we're gonna see if my heat works. So that's why we're here on camera. So thank you for joining me on this first half. Thank you for joining me on this trip down Haitian memory lane. And we will see you in part 2 where we're going to talk money, business, and more money, money, money. Ciao.